Welcome to another Generation S podcast. This week's episode is brought to you by Bryson Montgomery. His Instagram handle is Bryson Montgomery3. Make sure you all go follow him and show him some love since he did sponsor this episode. Our first topic, we're going to be talking about the NBA. Do you all think Zion is the real deal? I mean, have you seen him? He is the real deal, but what's your all's thoughts?
I personally think that Zion is the future of this league. I think that he will eventually be the face of the NBA. I think that the way he plays is, even though he can't shoot, I feel like that helps him. Because I heard Chris Broussard talk about this. In today's NBA, everybody spaces the floor. That means less people in the paint. He's strong. That's where he lives. And less people equals more buckets for Zion. And even the people that do have big guys, slow, sluggish, they're 7-footers. They're not quick. They're just tall. Blow by, layup, dunk. Just the future of this, like the way the league's going, he's one of a kind in this field of just being able to just relentlessly attack the rim. It doesn't even really matter if anybody's there, to be honest. He's just going to finish no matter what. And I feel like that he's the only teenager of all time to get 10 straight 20-point games, I think. And it's hard for him not to score 20 because he's just going to get a bucket whenever he wants. Because when he gets down within 5-6 feet, he doesn't miss. He can finish either hand, reverse, dunk, just everything. The only thing he really needs to improve is his free throw shooting, but that's a minor thing. And I just feel like that he's the future of this league.
Well, I heard Nick Wright say something, and he was like, everyone's going shooters and ball handling, and then Zion's just going to dominate because he's like, oh, everyone's doing that? How about I just be so physically dominant that I just punch you in the mouth every time down the court and just dunk on you every time? Because like Zach said, who has those people that can stop him? Nobody.
Yeah, not every team is like a Rudy Gobert. It's going to be able to block your shot.
Zion honestly reminds me of the presence that Shaq was when Shaq came to the league. Not the same kind of player. Like, Zion's not drop-stepping everybody because he's so much bigger, but he's so much stronger, and, like, people aren't equipped to deal with him. Just like nobody could guard Shaq, nobody can guard Zion because he's so quick off the floor that it's not necessarily how high he jumps all the time, even though his vertical is so good. But it's like, if the ball comes off the rim, he'll beat you to the ball. Not because he goes higher, just because he gets there faster. Plus, did anybody see the ball that he rebounded over Dwight Howard? The one that everybody's going crazy about?
No.
It was actually insane.
What did
He
he
was
do?
like, Zion's feet were at like his waist whenever he grabbed the ball. And Dwight Howard's 7 foot. It's insane. He's a freak, but I think even if he wasn't a superstar, like one of the best scorers, like really getting after it, he would be the face of the league just because everybody likes to watch him because he's a highlight play all the time.
Yeah, I also it was a Herd episode with Chris Broussard, and that's what Colin Cowherd said. He said his energy is unmatched. He plays with so much passion. He's like Russell Westbrook in that case. Like, every time he gets a bucket, he's sitting there yelling at the top of his lungs, flexing out. People want to see that. That's what kids like to watch. That's what, like, the younger generation likes to watch. They like to see Curry pound his chest, point up. They like to see LeBron do the little celebration he does. They like to see that because they want to go. They want to be able to go in their front yard and be like, I want to be like Zion. I want to dunk it and just yell at the top of my lungs or whatever. Like, and the energy he plays with, he's a hustle guy. He wants those chase down blocks. He wants those steals. So he wants the pick off steal so he can dunk it. He's a high energy player. He's fun to watch, and he's only 19 years old, man. Mm-hmm. He's only 19. If he stays out of injuries, he's something special.
To kind of stay on the topic of Zion, who would you all rather start a franchise with, Zion or Luka Doncic?
That's tough.
Yeah, I put this in there for my topics because I've seen it on Facebook of all places. The ESPN thing on Facebook said that, and I was like, that's a really good question, because Luke is he's the 20-year-old phenom. He can shoot, handle the ball, 6'8". He's the future of the NBA. Like, when you're talking about stereotypes of like the current NBA, he can do everything, and That's just, it's just a question of do you want shooting or do you want dominance in the paint? Or do you want ball handling as well?
I mean, three's better than two. So, I mean, I'm taking Luka Doncic. He's in he has 2 more threes.
I think it's crazy how people people are having this conversation because they're that similar in caliber of player, but how different they are in the journey that it took them to get here. Because Zion has been the hype for 3 years and he's only 19, and Luka Doncic, everybody thought that he was too slow, couldn't jump high enough.
LA Bird.
He wasn't good enough of an athlete, and now he's still, phenom, superstar. I mean, it's crazy.
So, I mean, Zion is just unstoppable. And then, I mean, Doncic is just a heck of a ball player. He's a scorer. So, I mean, when you ask the question, who would you rather have? I mean, I'd probably go with Zion just because, I mean, he's unstoppable, And then how many players are like him in the NBA? I mean, there's players similar to Doncic. I'm not saying they're as good. I'm not saying that at all. But there's players that are similar to him. How many players are similar to Zion?
Yeah. Another thing is a lot of times shooters can slump. Shooters can go a game, even sometimes a short series or like a finals and not shoot real well, shoot a lower percentage. What Zion doesn't slump. You don't just go a game and miss a lot of layups. Yeah. Like what Zion does, he does night in and night out, and that's why he's putting up those consistent numbers like Zach pointed out earlier, 10 games with 20 plus. That's impressive. So I would say Zion.
Yeah, I would personally go with Zion as well. His field goal percentage through however many games, looking at it, 17 is 61%. That's his field goal percentage. That means, I mean, he's also 7 rebounds with his 24 points and 7 rebounds as a rookie, 19-year-old, going insane. I mean, you still can't count out Luka. Luka's he's a triple-double, man. He's a better shooting Westbrook, but I mean, he can't slash as good, but he can literally do everything you need on him. He can rebound, and his court vision is almost unmatched in this league nowadays, and he can shoot from 40 feet. I mean, there's clips of him. He's also I think he's second, or he might be first in the league in fourth quarter and overtime field goal percentage. He's a very clutch player. He's the one you want with the ball in clutch time. This is kind of a different topic, but this is like what the Lakers' problem is. Like Anthony Davis shooting like 19% in the fourth quarter and overtime this season. Like it's gonna,
tough.
Yeah. So like you need those players like Luka and people like that are gonna win you ball games. And I would still go with Zion, but I think it's a 51-49 swing Zion for me.
So another topic that kind of goes to that is because like it's Harden versus Giannis so far, because Harden and Giannis are two complete opposite players. Giannis is like kind of like Zion. Harden's kind of like Doncic, if you think. And how Harden's been saying that if Giannis was, if he's like 6'5", that he wouldn't be in the league.
Yeah, there was an interview on ESPN with James Harden, and he said, he was talking about Giannis. He said, I wish I was 7 foot so I could just go in and dunk it. He said, what Giannis does takes no skill. It's probably the most ignorant thing I've ever heard in my entire life. That was, as for as good of a ball player Harden is, he should know better than that. Mm-hmm. Like, he should know that what Giannis does, and he's seen Giannis, like, he's went against Giannis multiple times, and he knows how other ways he can impact the game. It was just such a, I think, just completely ignorant statement to make, because I feel like Giannis almost has MVP in the bag at this point in the season. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, granted, he's averaging still 37 points a game, but he's shooting 77 shots a game. But, I mean, just the fact that he said that kind of ticked off Giannis. The next game, in 35 minutes, Giannis had 41, 25 rebounds, and I think like 9 assists. Like, that was kind of like I'm here moment, like, shut your mouth. Like, obviously what I do is I'm dominant. Like, I don't have to shoot 40-footers to be called skilled. Like, he thinks just because he can't shoot, it's not skilled, and that's so wrong. There's many players in this league that can't shoot from 40 feet or just can't shoot threes at all and are still dominant, like Ben Simmons, like Giannis, like Zion. Like, there's many players that aren't like Deadeyes that are still have positions in the league. And that was just like, there's Twitter beef and there's just IRL beef between them, and that's why. I mean, it's just completely ignorant for Harden to say that, in my opinion.
So who'd you say is more skilled, Harden or Giannis?
Harden.
Harden.
I mean, yeah, Harden's more skilled because, I mean, he's a better dribbler. He's one of the better ball handlers of all time. In my opinion, he's one of the best ball handlers of all time. And he's a phenomenal shooter from everywhere on the court as well. I mean, he's at this point one of the best scorers to ever touch a basketball.
Facts.
This is the second season in a row where he's averaging over 35 points a game. He's going to average over 35 points a game again this year and not win MVP again. I mean, I can see his frustration because he's going to lose to Giannis again because those are the two guys. Well, it's not even really. It's LeBron and versus Giannis at the MVP at this point. But just the fact that he's just frustrated that he's putting up the numbers that he is on a winning squad. Like, Houston's a winning squad this year, and he's still not getting the recognition. So I think he just said that in just pure frustration because Giannis is like, the Bucks are like 48-7 or something at this point. Like, they're on pace to win 70 games, and I think he just said it in just pure frustration of just not his team not being at the caliber that Giannis's is.
Yeah. I mean, I see where he's coming from. Like, yeah, James Harden is skillful, but he can't do what Giannis does because he's not built like Giannis, right? But at the same time, how many 7-footers have we seen in the league? And how many of them have we seen that can do what Giannis does? None. Giannis is the first player we've ever seen that does what he can do. I mean, yeah, he probably couldn't do it if he was 6'5" or 6'6". I mean, Zion's not 7 foot and he's doing it, but yeah, I mean, Giannis is just, that's ridiculous. Giannis is so skilled, even being 7 foot. That's what makes him so incredible and so unbelievably good, is because he is so skilled around the basket and defensively. He's so good at blocking shots and getting rebounds and stuff. Yeah, that was ignorant. I agree, Zach.
I mean, it was definitely ignorant, but I do see where he's coming from because he's like, I'm super skilled. Because, I mean, Harden's incredibly skilled, and then Giannis is crazy athletic, but to say that it takes no skill is just makes no sense.
So to stay on topic kind of James Harden, do you think the Rockets' small ball lineup will work at all? I think it's...
I mean, I personally think that in a playoff series, I personally think it'll be very difficult to beat because, I mean, there's only, I think, 2 or 3 teams in the West that can even compete with that because even when they had Capella, the only reason they're doing this is because they traded Capella for some reason that I actually don't know. And now they play 6'5" PJ Tucker at the center, and they have nobody above 6'5" in their starting lineup, which is just crazy to think about. But that means they have shooters everywhere, and they have 2 of the best ISO players of all time in Westbrook and Harden. I think Harden is the best ISO player of all time. And I think that it'll work. Like, I think that it's just hard for teams because it takes their center completely out of the game. So if you have like an AD or like something like a paint presence, it just completely just nullifies it. And I think like the Jazz, like Gobert's their backpack guy in my opinion. Like, they would not be really a good team at all if they didn't have him, and they just take him out of the game. And they average 125 points a game even before with Capella, and now they're averaging like 130 a game.
Jesus.
Like, it's so hard for teams to stop that. And they already run and gun. They're 7-second offense with D'Antoni. And you just can't. You have to try to outscore them, and you just can't. Like, some teams just cannot. They do not have the scoring power to outscore them because they don't play defense. I mean, nobody plays defense anyway, but the Rockets, they haven't played defense since Harden's been there. They're just not a defensive squad. They're not a defensive squad at all. And now they got Westbrook now. They have Harden. And they have, like, Covington now. And they have Eric Gordon. And they have Tucker. And PJ Tucker is their corner spot. He's their center. And he has the highest corner three-point percentage in the league. Like, if you cannot, like, it completely nullifies their center because if they leave him open, it's a bucket. So it takes their center out of the game. I think it's just gonna be such a nuisance because you can't even game plan for that. You can't game plan for somebody dropping 130 on your head. It's just something that teams are just gonna have to. They're just gonna have to try to willpower it, and most teams, if any, can compete with that.
Here's my thing, and Zach, I'm glad you said that about the playoffs because before you said that, I was thinking about it too. and because I mean they can beat a lot of teams the way they're doing it, but can the Rockets beat Giannis with that lineup? I don't think so. I mean, nobody can guard Giannis, but there's no way that they play Giannis with that lineup and he doesn't have probably close to 50. I mean, you can't guard him like that. I mean, especially when the playoffs come, people do start playing defense then, right? Usually, people try, and it's. I mean, you can't guard him like that. You have to have at least somebody that can stand in the paint and try and deflect the shot away from the rim because you can't guard him. I mean, he's going to get there one way or the other. So I think if they're playing Giannis or even LeBron James, I mean, LeBron's not as big as Giannis, but he's still a presence, and I don't think they can beat somebody like that in a series. But I mean, if they shoot the ball really well for 4 games, they'll win. I agree. I mean, you can't outscore that. They have the best shooting team all around in the league, but it'd be that's what they'd have to do. They'd have to just outscore them because they couldn't guard a team like that.
The way I see it is, by the time the playoffs come around, basketball changes, the game changes. So I think the Rockets could be heck of a regular season team with a bunch of games, but how far is 6-5 going to take you if you got to go through AD or Gobert? I mean, there's plenty of solid big guys in the league that, no offense to PJ Tucker, heck of a shooter, he's not going to stop them. But I mean, if they're hitting though, I mean, like Zach said, you can't do anything about that if they're just going to drop that many points on you. There's nothing you can do about that. So, I mean, unless they just think that the only way they can win is just to do that, I mean,
like I said earlier, 3's better than 2. I think if teams hitting 3s, you're winning the game. It's that simple. So like if the Rockets hit some 3s, they're consistent with it, they can go pretty far in the playoffs.
Yeah, but the Rockets have also had nights where James Harden's like 7 for 39. And if they have a night like that, they're going to lose every single time against a team that has a big.
They had to be hitting.
I mean, 3s are better than 2s, but what goes in more, 3s or layups?
Yeah.
I mean,
What goes in more, 3s or Zion Williamson around the bucket? Giannis.
Facts.
But the other thing is, you said they have 5 guys that can shoot, which is true, and they have the 5 best all-around shoot, like the 5 as a lineup. But a lot of times, teams nowadays have guys that are at least 6'9", 6'10", and can still stand at least 17 feet or whatever and shoot it. They might not be dropping 3 balls all day, but they can still spread the floor. So, I mean, I don't know. I think it'd be tough for them to win in a series against somebody that has a paint presence like Giannis or somebody, but if they shot the ball well, it'd be tough.
Did you all see the Karis LeVert dropping 51 against the Celtics, and it was an overtime dub, I think?
I mean, it was like, because who in the world, like, half the people in the freaking world don't even know who Karis LeVert is.
I don't know.
Michigan?
Yeah,
I have no
Michigan,
idea who that is.
He plays for the Nets. I mean, they would have been better last season. He got hurt. He had a season-ending injury last season, and he came back this season. They would have been, if they have Durant and Kyrie healthy, they would have been pretty solid this season. But Karis LeVert's extremely underrated in my opinion. I mean, this just kind of shows like I'm relevant game. I mean, it's an insane game. He had 36 points in the fourth quarter in overtime. Out of his 51, he had 36 in the fourth quarter in overtime.
I saw that. That's crazy.
Yeah, like
He only played 36 minutes.
yeah.
I mean, only, but...
Like the reason they went to overtime in general was Marcus Smart fouled him on a 3-pointer when they were down 3. That was, I mean, and then I think Marcus Smart like started talking to the refs after the game, calling them bad and stuff. But just the fact that he had in 12, I don't know how long in overtime is. I think it's 5 minutes or 4 minutes or 6 minutes. I think it's one of those. But in 16 minutes max, he had 36 points because he had 36 points in the fourth quarter in overtime. I mean, that's just insane. He, like, if you see the whole highlight reel of that, he was shooting the ball every possession. Like, they were giving it to him. He was shooting threes. He was shooting post fades. He was drop stepping. Like, if he had somebody small, he was doing it all. And it's just crazy to think of somebody like Karis LeVert. That just tells you how deep this league is nowadays, in my opinion. Like, the talent is not, there's no just one guy on every team anymore. There's not, like, just a Jordan or a Pippen, or there's not just Like every team has these players now that can just go off like that anytime, and I think it just makes the league just more. I think it just makes the league like a better all around because. I don't know. It's crazy to think that like somebody like that, somebody like a no name. In my opinion, he's a no name. Like he's not a household name. Karis LeVert is not a household name. Somebody like that can drop 51. That just shows you that how much talent it takes to get in this league. Because people think like, because people around here are like, oh, I'm gonna go with the NBA. Like there's no way. Like people like and like they call people bad in the NBA and they call people in college bad, and like. Karis LeVert, he dropped 51 in the NBA. He could drop 750 in a high school game. Like he can, like these players can score, and these players are dominant. It's just the league is so good nowadays that some of these players don't get to shine, and I'm happy for him. He finally got his moment like that.
Good for him. That's a breakout kind of thing to score 51 when basically nobody knows you. I mean, that's big time to get your exposure and make people notice you.
When you said that the league's getting better, I think a big part of that is the league's less physical to where there's more of a chance for offense to have. I mean, because people aren't getting hand checked every possession, people aren't getting fouled every possession, not getting called. So it gives people more of a chance to go off for 51. I mean, you still got to be good. Don't get me wrong, but I think the league being less physical helps that.
Yeah.
All right, for the next topic, we're going to be talking about the MLB and some of the recent things that have been going on there. Do you all think Giancarlo Stanton and Aaron Judge can stay healthy this season?
No. Honestly, when people get injury prone, like once somebody has an injury, it's so prone to coming back all the time. Derrick Rose, like just in sports, Derrick Rose, Anthony Davis hurt all the time. Like when people get hurt, they get hurt all the time. And they, I think, combined last year for like 121 games and 162 game season for both of them. That's less than one season combined. So there's no way they'll both be healthy all year. The thing about it is, though, is that the Yankees have so many weapons that they don't have to both be healthy at the same time. If one Aaron Judge is in your lineup or one Giancarlo Stanton's in your lineup, because they're both extremely talented hitters, but you don't need them both because you're both, two of the best hitters in the league. If you have one, it's going to help the rest of your lineup so much, scoring runs, and there's so much power between the two. But with just one of them, it'll be enough if one of them can stay healthy. But when they get to the playoffs, they'll both have to be healthy. If they're going to win a 7-game series, they're both going to have to be healthy. So I think, honestly, they're not two players that complement each other very well because they're both two of the exact same type of players. In my opinion, Aaron Judge is quite a bit better. But they're both injury prone. They're both power hitters that don't hit for great average. I mean, it sounded good in theory, but I don't think that lineup's going to work very well.
I mean, I personally don't think that the Yankees really need both of them healthy because their lineup's actually it's one of the better lineups in recent history. Like top to bottom, pitching staff, everything. Their bullpen last season was the best statistical bullpen of all time. It was the best statistical bullpen of all time. Their pitching staff has the best pitcher in baseball now. And they already had a solid rotation with Tanaka, and they don't have Severino this season, I don't think. So I think that with those pitchers and that bullpen, that they really don't need both of those guys because, like you said, they are very similar in play style. And I feel like Judge is better because if you don't have Mookie Betts in right field in the AL, I feel like Judge wins the Gold Glove for right field last season, even with however many games he played. He's one of the best fielders in the league, in my opinion. He has one of the best arms, if not the best arm. I mean, it helps that he's 8 foot tall and 250. But like he has a cannon, he has a hose, he has a Puig-esque just. His arm is phenomenal, and I feel like if anybody, if one of those two were out, I would rather have Stanton easily because Stanton's
You would rather have Stanton than Judge?
I would rather have Stanton out than Judge.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Because I feel like Stanton's, in my opinion, Stanton's a right-handed Joey Gallo.
Yeah, that's fair.
Stanton's a 200 hitter with 50, 60 home runs, and I feel like Judge is like 201. Not really, but like he's a higher average hitter. He's a better hitter. Like, he's not
Yeah.
just power. He's a hitter. And he's a phenomenal fielder. So I feel like if one of those two guys had to be out, it would have to be Judge. But I just feel like even if both of them out, the Yankees are still going to go to the World Series and maybe even win without both of those guys. Because they have one of the best teams. It's even one of the best Yankee teams of all time, in my opinion.
Which is saying something, right? Because they've had some really good teams. The thing about it to me is, a lot of times people pick up players like that to sell ticket, not specifically to sell tickets, because that kind of hitter helps a lineup and gets a lot of RBIs, hits a lot of home runs, to be a 3 or 4 hole guy. But guys that hit the ball 470, 480 feet, those kind of guys sell tickets because people want to see the ball hit a long ways, right? But you don't need two of those guys to do that. And Aaron Judge, as a whole, is a better hitter and better fielder, got a better arm than Giancarlo Stanton. So, I mean, I don't know. I'm not saying that they necessarily have to make a move, but if he can't stay healthy, I think that would be the best thing.
But the way I see it is, I don't think they'll stay healthy. And it's not even necessarily like them. I mean, obviously they're injury prone, and I mean that's not their fault, but that's them. But I think it's just because a big part of it's MLB season's so long.
Yeah.
It's just It's just crazy long. So how are people not gonna get hurt? You know what I mean? So.
To be fair, the last time that, not when he was with the Yankees, but when Giancarlo Stanton played for the Marlins, when he went out for so long, he got hit in the face. There's nothing you can do about that, right? But now these injuries that keep coming back, that's something that people don't just get over.
Do y'all think Ronald Acuna will have a 40-40 season this year?
I mean, I feel like he will. I think he easily will, in my opinion. Because last season he was 3 home runs shy. No, he wasn't 3 home runs. He was 3 stolen bases shy, my bad. He had 41 home runs and 37 stolen bases while batting .280, and he's 21 years old. I feel like Acuna's, because he plays in Atlanta and he's not at New York or Houston now, because Houston's one of the most talked about teams in the league now, or LA. Like, he's not in a big market. I'm not saying Atlanta's not a big market baseball team. They're like, Atlanta's known for the Braves. Like, that's one of their bigger franchises. But like, and nowadays, if you're not in like New York, LA, Houston, Chicago, like you're not really televised as much now. And Acuna's, in my opinion, a top 5 player in the league, and he's phenomenal. He's speed, ton of power, pure hitter, and insane fielder too. He makes some of the best plays. He had some of the best highlight plays in the outfield this season. I feel like he's very slept on, and I think he has a chance to win. Not even do a 40-40 season. I think he can potentially win the NL MVP. I mean, he's phenomenal. Just seeing him play, like seeing him in the home run derby, let me see how tall he is. He's not a big guy. He's 6 foot 180. That's like me out there in the home run derby. Like, that's like a bigger version of me.
Zach
6 foot
Sinnem,
180.
is here for the home run derby. 450 dead center.
Yeah, and he was hitting tanks in the home run derby. Like, he was hitting them farther, not farther than Vladdy Jr. Vladdy Jr. was hitting him into orbit. But like, he was hitting the same amount. He hit, I think, mid-20 home runs. And he has so much power. He has such a good swing, so much speed. I mean, I just think he's gonna be. I think he's one of the future. He is probably the future of this league, with speed, power. He's what the MLB is now. He's a pure package. He's a whole package of what you need in an MLB player nowadays.
Yeah, for sure. He's one of those guys, in a very elite group. Names like, you got Acuna Jr., but then you got, Mike Trout. You got a young Ken Griffey Jr., the kind of guys that hit the ball a long ways, but then they're also, stealing bags, great defenders. So 40-40 season is really, really tough. But if anybody could do it, I could see it being him. I mean, I'll be impressed. If he does that, I would see him winning the MVP. I mean, if it's not Bellinger, we'll see. I think he will, in my opinion.
How old is Acuna?
21.
He's 21. So he's going to be in the league a long time. So,
Good Lord willing, and the creek don't rise.
Yeah. So this isn't really about baseball, but it is a MLB player. Mike Trout literally hit a bomb with a golf swing. What was that? What's it called? Driving range?
It's a Top Golf.
Top Golf.
You know.
He hit the ball. He hit the
My
ball.
bad.
He hit the ball over the net at Top Golf, and Cody Bellinger did as well. I don't think he hit it over the net, but I think he hit it probably 2 feet short of Trout's. And he had an injury the prior night, and it was a knot in his back, and he says that it wasn't because of the golf swing, but I mean he basically swung his baseball bat like that. So I think that it probably was a Top Golf thing. I mean I think it's impossible for Trout to get hurt like
Dude.
with his back because I mean he's so jacked.
Superman.
I don't see how that polo is still intact that he was wearing at Top Golf.
Yeah.
Like it was the tightest polo I've ever seen in my entire life.
Trout literally looked like Happy Gilmore out there. When I watched that video, I was like, I was like, oh my god,
I
that's a
saw
ball.
that video and I didn't even know who it was, but he had like the short spiked up hair. I thought it was a bodyguard. Honestly, I thought it was like one of those guys that was just like 6'6", 320, and then I was like, crap, that's Mike Trout. Like, he's one of the most physically like just an animal the way he's built, and he hit that ball a long ways. But I feel like, even if it had hurt his back, you can't just admit to that because I'm sure that's against his contract more than likely. Well, it at least would have got him in a lot of trouble. Probably got his contract changed. But either way, he says he's 100% now, so something you can laugh about.
So we're talking about the physique of Mike Trout. If you ever see John Henderson out in the hallways, that's what Mike Trout looks like. An
The
absolute
exact same.
animal. Literal like beast, probably benches about 280.
I actually saw something one time, and it was like Mike Trout, like 6'3", 250, and then it was like Donald Trump, 6'4", 260. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, it's pretty much the same. They're pretty much the same physique.
So for the next topic, we're going to be talking about the NFL, some things going on there. Do you think the Packers should trade for OBJ?
I think it definitely could, and he'd probably help. But I mean, OBJ is not known as a great guy in the locker room, but neither is really. I mean, a lot of people have problems with
Any
Aaron Rodgers.
football player ever.
I mean, but a lot of people say that Aaron Rodgers just complains a lot. I mean, not as much this past season, but seasons prior. So I think if you get him a wide receiver like OBJ, because I don't care what he's doing, he's a heck of a player. So I mean, if you get him in there, I mean, what's he gonna say then? What's Rodgers gonna complain about then? You know, so Harry Whip, yeah, Odell freaking Jr. I mean, you know what I mean?
Who's the Packers' other receiver? Is it Aaron Jones is their running back, right?
Yeah.
So they don't. I thought they had a receiver as well. No, my bad. And Devontae Adams, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of.
I mean, I just think that OBJ is like an elite talent in this league, but he's never really had a quarterback. I mean, because Baker Mayfield was good last season, well, now 2 seasons ago, and this season he was not the best. And Eli Manning, when Eli Manning was playing then, he was still like a solid quarterback, but he wasn't very solid at that time period. And I feel like, and Odell Beckham Jr.'s prone, like he's known for complaining about his quarterbacks, and I feel like if he goes to the Packers, he has nothing to complain about because Aaron Rodgers is seen by some for some odd reason as the GOAT.
Makes
And
no sense. I
yeah,
hate people
like
say
there's
he's a goat.
actual ESPN analysts that think that he's the GOAT. And so he has no reason to complain. That's not an argument for him anymore. So I want to see like how he performs and what his excuse is if he plays bad if he goes to the Packers.
Another topic is I didn't know about this until Luke said something to me about it. Brady to the 49ers. That's insane to me. What are your all's thoughts?
So I've been seeing this, and everyone's like, "Oh, that'd be so great for Tom Brady," you know, because he's from California.
Yeah.
And then,
Of course he is.
and then they were like talking about sign and trade, you know, and be like, "Oh, Garoppolo will get to go back, you know, to the Patriots, and Bill Belichick get what he wanted." And then everyone's like, "But what did the 49ers get out of this?" I mean, they get Tom Brady for what? 2, 3, 4, maybe 4 years, and Jimmy G, you know, he's gonna be in the league for way more than that. So, I mean, and I was talking to other people about this, and I said, unless you're just in the front office of the Niners and say, we have strong feelings that some of our star players, once their contracts are up, they're leaving and not coming back. So they want to win a Super Bowl like next year, year after, then yeah, go for that. But I think it'd be dumb to try to get him.
I think if like any other team tries to sign Tom Brady, it'd be dumb unless they're in win now mode because I mean he's got 2-3 years left.
I just think it'd be kind of a low blow to everybody else on the 49ers and Jimmy Garoppolo because they just went to the Super Bowl. They probably should have won the Super Bowl this season. And what does that say about Garoppolo and their just respect for players of that franchise? That they're just like, oh, you made it to the Super Bowl, you carried our team. Nah, we can just ship you out for some. I mean, granted, it's Tom Brady, but that just shows like lack of respect for their players. That shows that they can just kick anybody out. That there's no set in stone guys on that team. They can just be like, oh, our quarterback that just led us to the Super Bowl, you're out the door for this guy.
And weren't the 49ers like up in the Super Bowl like the fourth quarter?
21-10, I think.
Like,
At one time,
Kyle Shanahan just can't close out.
But I mean, I don't think the 49ers lost the Super Bowl. I think the Chiefs just won it.
Facts, yeah.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. Like,
I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
just saying.
Like that just shows a lack of respect. That's a team chemistry low blow, in my
100%.
opinion, because he's a quarterback. Like we said in the previous episode of this podcast, is the most important position in sports, and that's just not a position that you can just, even if it is Tom Brady, the best quarterback of all time, there's still chemistry. Like there's still chemistry with Garoppolo. He just led a team to the Super Bowl, and he's just out the door for just because. And that's just, I think that just be demoralizing to that team.
Garoppolo arguably had just as good a season as Tom Brady. Anyways, they both probably had like 26, 27 touchdowns, right? So like, I mean, it wouldn't. I don't think Tom Brady would change much. It would just add it'd be a more experienced quarterback.
Yeah.
But it messes up the chemistry, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean, I think it's so hard to deny now that Tom Brady is the best quarterback of all time. And I know that because I've been trying to do it for
I still
12
deny it.
years since he's been one of the best quarterbacks in the league. But he is like, Luke said if he stays in the league 4 more years, can you imagine? How old is he now?
He's 39.
Yeah.
Maybe. Let me,
I thought he's 40
I
something.
got you.
But
I got you. It's so loud. He's 42.
that's
Yeah,
what I thought.
he's 42.
If he
Yeah.
was 46 and still playing at the level, because he hasn't, like he's dropped, like he's not what he was in his prime, but he's still one of the best quarterbacks in the league. If he stays until he's 46, that like puts him at the top of any professional athlete ever. Like that's so because he's not a kicker, right? Like that's
Best
quarterbacks.
position
I mean,
is-
it's not getting hit all the time with the rule changes, but still to play a position like that at the caliber that he's played it for that long, I mean that's ridiculous.
And when you guys said that it would mess up the chemistry, I mean, the 49ers, tight end George Kittle said, Jimmy G's my quarterback. That's who I want. And I mean, he's a pretty important man over there. I mean, he's legit.
Yeah.
So, I mean, why would you bring him in if somebody of that caliber saying, I would rather have the quarterback I have?
He threw for 3,900 yards and 27 touchdowns and 13 picks. That's Jimmy G. And then Tom Brady had 4,000 yards for 24 touchdowns and 8 interceptions. Jimmy G arguably had a better season. Threw a little bit less yards, but had more touchdowns and like a couple more picks. So like it's not gonna like player skill wise, it's not gonna change anything at all. But like literally, it's just gonna change everything in the locker room. And like some players might be like, oh, I don't want Brady as my quarterback because you know what I mean. I mean Brady obviously is one of the best quarterbacks of all time. Not gonna say the best because Peyton Manning, but yeah, it'd be great to have him on your team.
And then whenever you say that Jimmy G arguably had a better season, I mean, you're right. He didn't even play the season before. He was hurt.
Yeah,
I
it
mean,
was.
he may have played a couple games, but I don't think. But I mean, you gotta think. So that was his first season back from his injury.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean,
I think he'll be something special in the next couple of years.
I think so too.
So for the last topic, or for the last thing talking about football is, do you all think Dak and the Cowboys will ever reach an agreement?
I'm sure they will.
I think you have
mean,
to.
You
Dak
have
is
to.
so good.
I mean, what are they gonna say? No, I think we're gonna bring in Phillip Rivers in. Like, I mean, no. I think there's too many people in that locker room that respect Dak, that want him as their quarterback. I mean, and he handles everything. He may not have the most talent in the league, but he's the perfect leader as a quarterback. He leads his team the right way. He speaks the right way in interviews. I mean, he's just checks all those boxes. But everything that I say is that he wants more money, and what everyone's giving him advice to do that have been in that Cowboys organization, like Troy Aikman, Cowboy legends have said, take less money. You're a quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys, America's team. You'll make that money back on endorsements. Yeah. So, I get Dak says, I've earned this money. I've been underpaid for so long since I was a late draft pick. So I get why he wants his money, but, if I was Dak, I would take less money because I know I'm going to make that money back anyway. And so there's more money for other pieces to surround.
I definitely agree with that because, he's got to make that money back in endorsements. And if I'm the Cowboys and if he's, just full on, no, I want more money, I'm giving him that money. I think it's hard to have, a really good quarterback in the league now. And he threw 4,900 yards, 30 touchdowns, 11 picks. The touchdown leader this year was Lamar Jackson, right? He threw 35. So he's only 5 off from that. So, I feel like Dak Prescott's top, I wouldn't say 5 quarterback in the league, but top 10.
Yeah, I agree with that.
That's the thing with the Cowboys. They have Dak Prescott, but how much better can he be? I don't think he can be much better than the numbers he put up last season, and they're still not winning. I don't know, for him, I don't know why he would stay with that team. I don't know why he would, because he almost physically cannot put up better numbers than what he's doing, and they're just not winning games. So I'm not saying that he shouldn't take the money for the Cowboys. He can, he can do what he wants, but, I don't see why he would. They have potential. I'm not saying the Cowboys can't win games.
Right.
The Cowboys are a good team. On paper, they're a good team, but something's not going right. I don't know why. If in a couple years, I don't think he should sign that many years, because in a couple years, if he's putting up those same numbers, those are ridiculous numbers, and they're still not winning, he's got to try to leave. There's no point for him to stay.
One reason why I think they weren't as successful as I thought they would be. Jason Garrett, that ain't it as a coach. Now they got Mike McCarthy, who was Aaron Rodgers' coach when they won the Super Bowl. So I think that'll be good for Dak, and I think Dak will elevate. I think he'll become better. And then, at that point, if he gets better, has better coaching, and they're still not winning, then if I'm Dak, I'm out, But a lot of people are saying, oh, well, you're not winning, Dak. What? You're our quarterback. Why do you want? We're not winning. We won one playoff game. But, I get it. Quarterback's the most important position. It's not the only one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's excelling at a high level, and it's not just him. He has receivers. They're not performing well. Zeke. Did Zeke have a good season? It was that good, but he also has a whole time where he's not on the field and he can't handle what happens. You know what I mean? So
it's like at some point you have to pick one or the other. If you can't win for a team and they're not giving you the money you deserve, then at what point do you have an incentive to stay? They're not paying you the money you deserve. They're not building the team around you that you need to win. Go somewhere else, right? And in a couple of years, I think he'll realize that.
The way I see it is the reason why he wants to stay is because he's the quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. People that aren't around football maybe won't get that. I've never played football, but that's it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's, Lakers point guard. That's it. Mm-hmm. Cowboys quarterback is the position for sports. So, but,
Yeah, you took the words right out of my mouth there. That's it for football. The quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys. That's the equivalent of the point guard for the Los Angeles Lakers. That's the spot you want to be in that's the main market and the biggest franchise in the NFL. That's where you're going to get the most TV time. That's why he's staying, in my opinion. I think that's the only thing keeping him level is like you said previously, the endorsement money and stuff like that. He's going to make the money, but I just don't think they're going to treat him right. I just think that I think eventually if he keeps putting up those numbers or better numbers, he's got to get out if they're not winning. And like you said, Jason Garrett's, I can probably coach better than Jason Garrett. He's not a good coach at all, and he just deserves better. He's such a good talent that he needs better.
Yeah, that's the thing is you get a lot of endorsements, a lot of sponsorships and stuff when you're playing for the Cowboys, you're a quarterback for the Cowboys, but you also get a lot of money for that kind of stuff when you win Super Bowls, when you're succeeding. How many endorsements do you think the quarterback that just won the Super Bowl is getting? A lot. Like
Oh,
all
Patty Mahomes
kinds.
is getting so many.
He's
Patrick-
sponsored by like some kind of ketchup brand. I saw that.
Every brand anywhere wants him on their cover, right? Because everybody knows him because he's the I'm going to Disney World guy, right? So that's another way that you get paid your money, you win Super Bowls, and you get the endorsement deals. Why would you stay in Dallas?
Yeah, that was like you said. I was about to say that as well. You have to win Super Bowls. Like that's where you want to be. Granted, like you said, like he is the quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys, but the Cowboys haven't won a Super Bowl in umpteen million years. So like there's always going to be that stigma. Like the Lakers haven't had a winning season since 2011 or whenever the Kobe Super Team was made, and like that stigma's kind of like I think like further down the road that stigma's just kind of going to drop if like the Cowboys keep being bad and stuff like that. So, like you said, like Mahomes is getting ketchup brand sponsorships. He's the cover athlete for the video game. He's getting every endorsement because he's winning Super Bowls. And that's the same thing with Brady. Like Brady's getting all these because people want to know who's like the best. Like the people, because NFL's the biggest brand in the country right now.
Oh yeah.
It's the biggest sport in the country, and that's what most people watch. And they want to know who the best of the best is. Even if you're not on the Cowboys, you could be on the Dolphins. But if you win the Super Bowl, then you're the Super Bowl winning quarterback, and that's who everybody knows. Everybody, like a lot more people, I guarantee you, a lot more people know who Patrick Mahomes is than Dak Prescott.
Oh,
Yeah.
Just because he won the Super Bowl this year.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
To kind of wrap this up, so the report is that Dak wants $35 million a year, and the Cowboys are thinking somewhere more towards 28. What are you guys thinking? If you were Jerry Jones, what would you say?
Oh,
This is it.
He's getting that money.
You think 35?
I'm paying him. Yeah.
Think?
I think he signs for less than 35. Now, I don't think he signs. Eventually, maybe he signs for 28, but he's not going to sign a big contract. If you want him to stay there, it's not 35, but maybe it's 31. Maybe it's 30. Maybe it's 32. So somewhere in the middle, I think.
Yeah, I think it's more on the middle lower end because I think that he wants to sign for as little as possible in case they start winning. Because you can only pay him so much, and if he signs for as most as he can, and they start winning, they can't pay him much more. So I think that if he signs for less and they start winning, or if he signs for less and they start losing, then he has a more incentive to pull out if he's making less money.
This is what's crazy to me, though. Before we wrap up, could you imagine being a professional athlete and like imagine him going to Walmart and when I don't know if he has kids. He goes to Walmart and his kid's like, "Dad, can I have this pack of gum from the Walmart?" And he's like, "Sorry, son. The Cowboys only offered me $28 million. I can't buy you that pack of gum." Like, what's the actual difference between 28 and 30? Like, I know that's $7 million, but you can't spend $35 million in a year anyway.
It's
like,
just...
It's literally just for I'm one of the top paid
that's
quarterbacks
exactly
in the
what
league.
it is. It's just, I'm worth this much.
It's just crazy to me. Like, it's not the difference between negotiating, $15 and $25 an hour. It's the difference between $28 and $35 million a year. That's just crazy to me.
But to me, I think Jerry Jones says highest I'll go is 32. Dak says lowest I'll go is 32. I think a deal around 32 will get worked out, and I think that's a fair number because, he's won, I think, one playoff game, maybe two, but he's not winning Super Bowls, and he's got crazy stats, so I think somewhere around 32 is what the deal's gonna be.
I think if I'm Jerry Jones, I say my bottom's 32, and then if I'm Dak Prescott, I say my bottom's 35, and then Jerry Jones shakes my hand. I don't think he's gonna not give him the money. If he sticks it out, I think he'll get the money he wants. But
All right, so making a return, we have the man, myth, the legend, John Henderson, not working on a farm again this week, thank God. John, go ahead and introduce the segment you're going to be doing.
Nice to be here, Bobo. This week we're going to have some more trivia questions for you all. With the first trivia question being, what year and to what team was Ken Griffey Jr. drafted? Here's some options. A, the Cincinnati Reds, 1990. B, the Astros, 1993. C, the Mariners, 1987. D, the Mets, 1980. All right, what are we thinking, guys?
You say King Griffey Jr., right? Not senior. Just making sure.
Yeah, so
All right,
just guess.
I'm going to go with the Mariners one. Is that C?
Yes, that is C.
All right, I'm going to go with C.
I'm gonna go with C as well.
It's a C for me.
thought you said they were gonna be harder. It's C.
And the correct answer is C, the Mariners in 1987. What a year to be alive, guys.
I remember it like it was yesterday.
It was yesterday.
It was actually yesterday.
The second question we have here, who was the number one pick in the 2014 NBA draft? A, Joel Embiid. B, Andrew Wiggins. C, Karl Anthony Towns. D, Jabari Parks. I mean, it's hard. It's a tough one.
Did you say Jabari Parks?
I may have misspoken that.
It's Jabari Parker.
Same name.
The answer is Andrew Wiggins.
I'm gonna have to go with Andrew Wiggins as well.
I'm pretty sure it's Karl Anthony Towns.
Oh no, Anthony Towns was later than
That's
that.
2015.
At least. I think it was 16.
Yeah.
Andrew Wiggins.
The correct answer was Andrew Wiggins, 2015.
Looks
was
so
Karl Anthony
bad.
Towns, Luke. You were very close, so
Wait,
I
it was
admire the
2015?
effort. This one, for
Wait,
the
was
third
it-
question here.
Talk
It
about
was 2015. Yeah. The third question here, a little tougher. One that I didn't really expect here, but which college football team has the most NCAA championships? A, Yale.
Oh, the guy
Alabama.
Academic Bowl.
C, Clemson. D, Ohio State. And Bubba, what are you thinking?
It's got to be Bama. It's got to be Alabama.
I feel like since you said that you didn't expect it, I don't feel like it's Alabama. I'm gonna go with Ohio State.
Man.
Shout out to my boy TK. I'm going to go with the Ohio State University.
So I also thought it was 100% Alabama. And then I heard John say this one kind of surprised me.
I didn't hear him say that.
Well, you should have been paying attention.
I'm so sorry. I'm
So I'm also going to go with the Ohio State University.
All right, and so
It's gonna be Yale.
the answer for this one is actually Yale University
Yeah.
with 18
Shut your mouth.
NCAA
Shut your mouth.
championships. I promise.
It's
when I
Shut
looked
your
at-
mouth.
It's NCAA spell ball.
swear-
Oh yeah, it's NCAA English Academic Bowl team maybe.
No, on the football thing that says the NCAA recognizes
When they win in
Yale.
1887, 1880.
I mean,
Are
they
you
might
being
have been the only team in the league,
look
but
me in
they
the
were
eyes.
winning.
Are you being for real?
I swear, I wouldn't have put it on here. I've
Fact-
never lied.
I need everyone in the comment section
It's
down below to
White,
fact
never
check him.
Please fact check me.
Fact checked him. All right.
Okay, hold
If
on.
I'm wrong.
I figured out why I missed that trivia question. Because I was thinking Wiggins was 13, but I'm pretty sure that was Anthony Bennett, and he's just irrelevant.
Yes.
So that's what. That's
Imagine. That's funny.
All right. So we're going to be introducing a new segment on the podcast called Goat Talk. John, would you like to explain this?
Yes, I would love to, Bobo. So, Goat Talk essentially is where I've constructed a wheel with the MLB, NFL, and NBA. I will spin that wheel first, and whichever it lands on, I will then spin another wheel about the positions in that respective category, and then we will each go around and discuss who we think is the greatest of all time in that respective position. All right, so let me spin the wheel first to see if it's going to be the NFL, NBA, or MLB. And it is the NBA. We love to see that.
Sweet.
All right, so now we're going to spin the position wheel.
I call power forward.
And it is going to be very close. And let's come on here. And we have center. That's one we can. That is one we could talk about for a long time.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Bubba, what are you thinking?
I think greatest center of all time, 110%, no debate in my mind, is Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I mean, all-time points, leading scorer. I can speak English for a second. All-time leading scorer, literally had the most unguardable post move, probably the sky hook. You cannot guard it. He's 7'1", gets you a little sky hook. Like, who's gonna be able to guard that? Honestly, like, what do you like in your coffee, sir? Kareem. You know, who said that? Was it Ben Watts? But I think Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is definitely the best center of all time. What's your thoughts?
I feel like it was for me, is a 51-49 split between Wilt Chamberlain and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and I have to give the edge to Wilt Chamberlain. I feel like Wilt Chamberlain he was a freak of nature at his time and would still be a freak of nature now. He's a 7'1", lean, mean machine with he had a 43-inch vertical and a 7'1", and his stats are some of the most insane of all time. He has 31 points a game, career, 21 seasons in the NBA, 31 points a game, 23 rebounds. Like I said in the last podcast, there wasn't a block stat. He probably averaged, I'm guessing probably 3 at least a game.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like if there was somebody that could guard the skyhook, it would be Wilt Chamberlain.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like his dominance is unmatched in the game of basketball. I feel like his records are never going to be broken. And because I've seen that Harden has 6 50-point games in his career, and he's second all time, I think. Wilt Chamberlain has 37.
Yeah.
How many?
37 50-point games in his career. Like, some of his numbers and his scoring records are never going to be broken. And I just think that, just off of that, I have to go Wilt Chamberlain for greatest center of all time.
I see your point, Zach, but I still can't get over the fact that it just wasn't the same league. So, if I had to pick the greatest center of all time, I would say Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
I'm gonna get a lot of hate for this. I gotta do it. You guys might know how I feel about this, but the most dominant, the most unguardable player of all time, physically, just no one could keep up. Shaquille O'Neal.
I thought about that.
Shaquille O'Neal is the most dominant, not the best, the most dominant, unguardable player of all time. You couldn't do anything with him. He just drops. He literally drop step you and dunk on you, like people that were 7 feet tall. It wasn't 6'5". The center for the Rockets, the center for the Rockets, PJ Tucker, right? No, these guys are 7 feet tall. He's dunking on them, pushing them down, throwing the ball at them. Like, he's just that much better than everybody. Nobody could guard him. He's not the best player of all time. He's he was a decent defender, a good defender, but he was fairly one-dimensional. So I think by far the most dominant player of all time, the best center for sure.
After hearing everybody talk about it, it was tough, but there was one simple reason I chose this man, Wilt Chamberlain. And the reason is not because of anything he did on the court. Of the mustache he had. And, it took him a long time to grow that mustache out. And so I'm on myself right now, if y'all don't know, trying to grow out a mustache. So I have to respect him for that.
So my brother, I have mad respect for Wilt Chamberlain.
Yeah, it is a really luscious mustache. So that's why I would have to choose it.
And that's it for this week's episode of Generation S.
We got merch for sale right now. If you guys would like to buy a shirt, talk to any of the cast members, and we'll get your order down. Also, be on the lookout where you have bracelets that are about to go on sale. So if you'd like that, let one of us know.
And as always, guys, keep your stick on the ice.
Stay classy, San Diego.
Hey, Smoke Dogs out.